Good morning, students. Welcome to the class on chemical kinetics. Today we will see the derivation for integrated rate expressions. We will start with the zero order reactions. First, we will see some examples for zero order reactions. Most of the enzymatic reactions are examples for zero order reactions. Say, for example, A is giving P, and here this reaction is catalyzed by enzyme. And when we write the rate law, R is always depends on enzyme, but it is independent of reactants. So we can say with respect to reactants, enzyme reactions are zero order reactions. Similarly, the decomposition of gases on the metal surfaces are best examples of zero order reactions. Here, the rate of the reaction depends on the surface area of the metal, but not on the amount of gases that undergoing decomposition. So the decomposition of gases on metal surface is the best example for zero order reactions. So decomposition of ammonia gas on molybdenum surface to its individual gases, nitrogen and hydrogen, or decomposition of nitrous oxide on a hot platinum surface to nitrogen and oxygen are the best examples for zero order reactions. Similarly, another good example for zero order reactions is a photochemical reaction. A photochemical conversion of hydrogen and chlorine to HCl gas is the best example. Here it is a chain reaction and it does not depend on concentration of hydrogen or chlorine. It depends only on the intensity of the light which we use. So it is again a best example for zero order reactions. Now we will see the derivation for integrated rate expressions for a zero order reaction. First, let us consider a general zero order reaction A gives rise to P. Now, let us say if the reaction is started with the A amount of starting material, so we can say initial concentrations that means when T is 0, initial concentration of A is A, and of course product will not form, so amount of product is 0. After some time, say at time T, if we say X amount of product is formed, then what is the amount of A? It should be A minus X. That means X amount of A is converted to product. So after some time T, the concentrations of product is X and the reactant is A minus X. We know for a zero order reaction, the rate does not depend on concentration of reactant for a zero order reaction. The rate does not depend on concentration of reactant. Therefore, the rate law for a zero order reaction can be written as R is equal to some constant K. Since it is a zero order reaction, we will take the suffix 0 and the initial concentration power 0. Okay, because it is a zero order reaction, A power is 0. we can convert this, we can also use differential form of rate, where rate is nothing but the decrease in the concentration of reactants. This is the differential expression for rate. So decrease in the concentration of reactants. So this is the reactant here is equal to K naught into A power 0, anything power 0 is 1, so K naught. Now we can rearrange the variables in such a way that here A and T are both variables, K naught is a constant. Okay, right. So when we rearrange the variables, minus D of A is equal to K naught into dt. Now we can integrate this on both sides. On integration between the limits, we get on integration between the limits, we get integral, minus is a sign, so we can keep it outside. Integral dA is equal to K naught is a constant, so we can keep it outside the integration, into dt. What are the limits? Here the limits of A are, starting we have A amount, and after some time t it is A minus x. Similarly, the limits of t are, initially we say 0 time, and after time, so it is t. So the limits of this integration are integral A to A minus x, and time limits of time are 0 to t. Now we know the integration formulas for dx. The differentiation and integration at both are opposite. What is the differentiation for x? Differentiation for x is dx. Differentiation for x is dx. What is integration? Integration is the reverse of differentiation. So what is the integration for dx? It is the reverse. That means it is x. So here dA, so integration is a, and between the limits a to a minus x is equal to K naught into dt, so it becomes t between the limits 0 to t. Now we will substitute the variables here. So minus of, first we need to substitute the upper limit, then the lower limit. Before, now we will use minus and then lower limit. That is equal to K naught into upper limit t minus lower limit 0, or it becomes x is equal to K naught into t. So this is the integrated rate expression for a zero order reaction, or we can also rearrange it as K naught is equal to x by t. K naught is equal to x by t. This is the integrated rate expression for a zero order reaction. Now we can also represent, first I'll repeat this, okay? See, derivation of integrated rate expressions for a zero order, first order, second order, third order, it is always in a similar fashion like this. So we apply the same method. Of course, integration formulas will change, but we apply the same method. See, first consider a general reaction A gives rise to P, and in the initial we have amount of A, and the product is 0. After some time t, say x amount of product is formed, then the initial concentration of A is A minus x. Now we will write the rate law. Zero order reaction, R is equal to K naught. Now we will substitute differential form of rate. So minus dA by dt is equal to K naught into K naught. Now we will change the variables, all concentration terms one side, all time variables on the other side. Now, when we integrate it between the limits, what are the limits? Here we are starting the reaction with the A amount and the final concentration is A minus X. Similarly, initially time is 0 and after some time say T, so the final time is T. So the limits are A to A minus X for concentration terms and 0 to T for the time. Now what is the integration for dA? Integration for dA is A and we need to substitute the limits. Minus sign we can keep it outside the integration. Similarly for dt integration is t. So when we substitute the variables it becomes x is equal to k naught into t or k naught equal to x by t. So this is the integrated rate expression for a zero order reaction. We can also represent this zero order reaction in a graphical fashion. For example, if we use r is equal to k naught into a power 0, so when I draw a graph of rate on y-axis and concentration of A on x-axis, because the rate is independent of A, even if I change the concentration, that means if I decrease the concentration or if I increase the concentration, rate of the reaction will not change. So what I'll get is a constant straight line. We can also represent the zero order reaction using the integrated rate expression. Here we will use this formula x is equal to k naught into t. So here it looks like y is equal to mx. Y is equal to mx. So x is equal to k naught into t. Y is equal to mx. We will take x on y-axis and time on x-axis. Then when we try to draw a graph, it looks like a straight line passing through origin, because y is equal to mx doesn't have any constant intercept. So it passes through origin and its slope is k naught. Okay, so when we were given the data of a graph of x versus t and if we were given some slope, then the slope is nothing but rate constant of the zero order reaction. So we can determine the rate constant from the slope of this graph. Now we will see half-life expression. What is half-life? Half-life time or half-life, in general it is called half-life. Half-life of a reaction is the time required for the reaction to be half completed. That means A will become A by 2. So half of the A will be converted to product. So that means X becomes A by 2. Okay. Here T half, half-life is denoted by T half. Now we will try to derive the expression for half-life of a zero order reaction. Now what we need to do at for T half, we need to substitute x is equal to a by 2 in the integrated rate expression. What is the integrated rate expression for a zero order reaction? For a zero order reaction, k is equal to x by t. Therefore, k naught is equal to what is x? A by 2 by t. T we will write t half. Because this is an expression for t half, we will rearrange them. T half is equal to a by 2 into k naught. So this is the expression for half-life of a zero order reaction. Here we can clearly say that half-life of a zero order reaction is directly proportional to initial concentration of A. Half-life of a zero order reaction is directly proportional to initial concentration of A. That means if we increase the initial concentration, half-life will increase. If we decrease the initial concentration, half-life will decrease. Half-life of a zero order reaction is directly proportional to the initial concentration of reactant. Here, for a zero order reaction, half-life is directly proportional to initial concentration. For example, if we are starting a reaction with 100% of the reactant, and if it takes T time for the reaction to become 50%, then for the same reaction, if we want to convert this 50% to 25%, then it takes half of the T time. Now the same reaction, if we want to convert this to 12.5% of the initial concentration, then it takes 1/4 of the T. Now if the same reaction, if we want to convert the internal initial concentration of the reactant to 6.25%, it takes T by 8, 1/8 of T time. So that means when we decrease the initial concentration, T half will also decrease. Now we will see some problems on zero order reactions. Half-life of a zero order reaction is 250 seconds. Calculate the time required for 75% of the reaction. Yeah, this is not required. And also the time required to complete the reaction. I will explain both. There are two possible ways. We can use a shortcut, and similarly we can I forgot to add a point here. See, that means for 100% to become 25%, what we can say, the reaction is 75% completed. Reaction is 75% completed. So that means the time required for 75% completion is nothing but T plus T by 2, nothing but it is 1.5 T time, T half. So what we can say, T half. So therefore, for a zero order reaction, T 75% time required for 70% of the reaction to be completed is nothing but 1.5 times of the half-life. 1.5 times of the half-life. We can use this shortcut for solving the problems. We can also derive the rate constant value and then substitute it. So we will practice both ways. First we will write whatever it was given. Given that half-life of a zero order reaction is 250 seconds. Therefore, T half is equal to 250 seconds. Now, let us consider initial concentration A. So always take initial concentration A. Now, since T half was given, we know for a zero order reaction, T half, the expression for T half is A by 2 into K naught. So from this we can derive rate constant value. Remember, rate constant is always a constant irrespective of the initial concentrations. So rate constant is always a constant at a particular temperature. Rate constant will change when we change the temperature, but when we change the reaction, initial concentrations, rate constant will not change. So we can use this rate constant value, which is derived from the half-life value, then we can substitute it, we can use it any number of times for the same reaction. Here, T half is given as 250 seconds, therefore K naught is equal to A by 2 into 250 seconds, K naught is equal to A by 500 seconds. Now we need to calculate what is the time for time required for 75% of the reaction to be completed. You know what is 75% of the reaction? When we say a reaction is 75% completed, that means X becomes 75% of A. X becomes 75% of A. A becomes 25% of its initial value and X becomes 75% of A. Or we can say 0.75 A. Since it is a percentage, we can convert into number by dividing it with 100. So 0.75 A, or we can also take it as 3 by 4 of A. 3 by 4 of A. Okay, what we need to calculate? We need to calculate T75%. So we have X value, we have T75% value, and we also have A value. Then we can calculate, of course, we have already calculated K naught value. So it is A by 500 seconds. Therefore, for a zero order reaction, the integrated rate expression is K naught is equal to X by T. Because we need to calculate T75%, we will have it as X by T75%. Then rearrange it. T75% is equal to X by K naught. Now we know the value of X and we know the value of K naught. So we will substitute those two values. What is X? X is 3 by 4 of A by K naught. What is K naught? It is A by 500 seconds. So 3 by 4 A into 500 seconds by A. So A gets cancelled. What is 3 by 4 of 500? It is nothing but 375 seconds. So in this reaction, the time required for 75% of the reaction to be completed is 375 seconds. Now alternatively, we can also solve this problem. Yeah, I'll remind you once again. What was given? We were given T half 250 seconds and we were said it is a zero order reaction, and we were asked to calculate the time required for 75% completion of the reaction. Of course, we know the expression that T75% is equal to 1.5 T half for a zero order reaction. 1.5 T half for a zero order reaction. Therefore, T75% is equal to 1.5 into 250 seconds, nothing but 375 seconds. This is how we can calculate it for a competitive exam, and this is how we can calculate it for a normal theory exam. Similarly, we will look at the problem B. Yeah, what was the problem B? Time required for completion of the reaction. Now, what is the time required for completion of the reaction? Time required to complete the reaction. Now, what do you mean by completion of the reaction? When the reaction is completed, we can say 100% of the reaction is completed. When 100% of the reaction is completed, we can say X becomes A. All A will be converted to all A starting material will be converted to a product. So the amount of X becomes A. Therefore, from the integrated rate expression for a zero order reaction, K naught equal to X by T, we can rearrange it for 100% completion A by K naught. So X becomes A, T for 100% completion, K naught will not change. Therefore, T 100% is equal to A by, what is the K naught value? K naught value was derived from half-life expression. So we can say the reaction will complete within 500 seconds. The reaction will complete within 500 seconds. Now we will derive the units for rate constant of a zero order reaction. The units for rate constant of a zero order reaction can be easily derived from its integrated rate expression, X by T. Generally, X, which is nothing but concentration, and T, it is time. So the units of rate constant are concentration by concentration and time inverse. Generally, we represent concentration in moles per liter, time generally in seconds, so time inverse, so it is second inverse. So the units of zero order rate constant are moles per liter per second inverse. Generally, liters can be represented in terms of decimeters. Decimeter cube is 1 liter. Because it is liter inverse, it is decimeter cube inverse, then second inverse. So these are the units for rate constant of a zero order reaction. Now we will see one more problem on zero order reactions. Half-life of a zero order reaction is 250 seconds. Calculate its half-life when initial concentration of the reactant increases 2 times. Now we will look at this problem. We can solve this in 2 ways. Now first we will look at this from a competitive point of view. See, it was given that half-life is 250 seconds, then half-life when the initial concentration of the reactant increases 2 times. Say for example, initial concentration is A, then we need to calculate the T half when A becomes, say for example, A1 is A, A2 becomes 2A. And for a zero order reaction, we know T half is directly proportional to A. So when we increase the initial concentration, T half will increase. When we decrease the initial concentration, T half will decrease. Here it was given that calculate the half-life when the initial concentration of the reactant increases 2 times. When the initial concentration of the reactant increases 2 times, then T half will also increase by 2 times. T half will also increase by 2 times. So when the initial concentration is doubled, T half will become double. Now we can solve this same problem from theory point of view. Yeah, there were two concepts here. Say, let us consider initial concentration A1, in this case, say A. Half-life because there were two T halves, so to avoid confusion, I'll write T1. T1 is equal to 250 seconds. When we were given T half, what we can do, we can use expression for T half and we can calculate the K naught value. So therefore, for a zero order reaction, T half is equal to X by, sorry, A by 2 into K naught. Therefore, from this we can calculate K naught value. So A by 2 into T half. Therefore, K naught is equal to A by 2 into 500 seconds. Now, coming to this point, here what they have said, initial concentration is doubled. Initial concentration is doubled. Therefore, A2 becomes 2A. A2 becomes 2A. Then we need to find out half-life. How half-life will change when initial concentration is double. Again, we need to use the expression for T half. T half, say I'll use 2. T2 is equal to, here the initial concentration is A2 by 2 into K naught. Here what is A2? It is 2A by 2 into K naught. What is the K naught value? A by 2 into 500 seconds. So when we do calculations, all these things will get cancelled. It becomes 2 into 500 seconds. So it becomes 1000 seconds. Sorry. It was only 500 seconds. Sorry. So it was 500 seconds. So for a theory point of view, we can calculate the required things using integrated rate expression and half-life. For a competitive point of view, we can use a shortcut and we can solve it within less than 1 minute. Now we will derive the integrated rate expression for a first order reaction. First we will see some examples for first order reaction, then we will go for the derivation. There are a few examples for first order reaction. The first one is decomposition of dinitrogen pentoxide. So dinitrogen pentoxide N2O5 will be decomposed to NO2 gas plus oxygen gas. Similarly, another example is decomposition of thionyl chloride. What is thionyl chloride? SO2Cl2 is called thionyl chloride. So thionyl chloride will decompose to SO2 as well as Cl2. Of course, both are gaseous products. So decomposition of thionyl chloride is an example for first order reaction. Similarly, decomposition of 2,4,6 trinitrobenzoic acid. This is benzoic acid. The carbon will be given as number 1. This is number 2. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is 2,4,6 trinitrobenzoic acid. When we heat this 2,4,6 trinitrobenzoic acid, because of the 3 strong withdrawing groups, it is possible to easily expel carbon dioxide from this molecule. So when 2,4,6 trinitrobenzoic acid undergoes decomposition, it will sorry, carbon dioxide molecule will be eliminated from the molecule. So what we will get is 1,3,5 trinitrobenzoic acid. Next example for first order reaction is decomposition of hydrogen peroxide. When hydrogen peroxide is stored for a long time, what it will do, it will undergo decomposition to give water and oxygen. Of course, when you balance it, it becomes half. So this is liquid and this is gas. So this is the reason why we need to change the hydrogen peroxide bottles from time to time. Okay, we buy a bottle and we cannot use it for a longer time. Similarly, when we hydrolyze an ester molecule, what is ester? Ester is an organic molecule where it will have a carbon which is doubly bonded to oxygen and singly bonded to oxygen, and this oxygen will have another alkyl group. So if we have COOR functional group, then it is called an ester. Here it is ethyl group, so it is called ethyl acetate. Ethyl acetate. When we do hydrolysis of an ester, we can do it under basic conditions or acidic conditions. Hydrolysis of an ester under acidic conditions is an example for first order reaction. When we hydrolyze it, what happens? It becomes carboxylic acid plus alcohol. So this is acetic acid and this is ethanol. So this is acid hydrolysis. I'll give a short look at the mechanism. What is hydrolysis? Addition of water is called hydrolysis. Here, a water molecule will be added along this ester moiety. The OH will be added to carbonyl carbon, oxygen will be added to carbonyl carbon, hydrogen will be added to alcohol, so that this C double bond O, CO single bond will be broken. So addition of water is called hydrolysis. And the last example for first order reactions is, penultimate example for first order reaction is inversion of cane sugar. What is cane sugar? Cane sugar is nothing but sucrose, C12H22O11. Sucrose or table sugar. When we hydrolyze this sucrose, what we will get is, we will get an equimolar mixture of glucose and fructose. Of course, glucose and fructose both are having same molecular formula. So what is sucrose? Sucrose is a dimer of glucose and fructose in a 1:1 ratio. So generally we use an enzyme called invertase. So an enzyme named invertase will do hydrolysis of sucrose to glucose and fructose. Now why we are calling it as inversion of cane sugar? Now when we pass a light, monochromatic light onto the sucrose solution, it will rotate the light in a clockwise direction. It will rotate the light by 66 degrees in a clockwise direction. When it is rotating clockwise direction, we can use the symbol plus, or we can say it is dextrorotatory. So the process of rotation of light is called optical activity. What is optical activity? A compound which can rotate a monochromatic plane polarizer light when it is exposed is called its optical activity. If it is rotating in a clockwise direction, it is called dextrorotatory. If it is rotating in a counterclockwise direction, it is called levorotatory, and we use minus symbol. Right. So sucrose solution, when it is exposed to a monochromatic light, it rotates the plane polarizer light by 66 degrees in a clockwise direction. After hydrolysis, again when we pass the plane polarizer light onto this mixture will rotate the plane polarizer light by around 40 degrees in a counterclockwise direction. So it is called levorotatory. Sucrose, before hydrolysis, it is a dextrorotatory. When we hydrolyze the sucrose, it is converting into a levorotatory mixture. So this is what is called inversion, from a clockwise rotation to an anti-clockwise direction. So that is why it is called inversion. Now why it is happening? Why it is happening? When we hydrolyze sucrose, we will get 1:1 mixture of glucose and sucrose. That means the number of molecules, the number of glucose molecules and the number of fructose molecules, both are same in this mixture. Now we will look at the optical rotation of glucose and sucrose. Glucose, pure glucose, will rotate the plane polarizer light by around 52.5 degrees in a clockwise direction, whereas the sucrose molecule, it rotates the plane polarizer light by around 92 degrees in a counterclockwise direction. In a counterclockwise direction. Right. Glucose is a dextrorotatory, fructose is a levorotatory. But in the mixture, we have 1:1. So when we have 1:1, see clearly fructose is dominating glucose by around 40 degrees. So overall, glucose can rotate in clockwise direction around 52 degrees, whereas fructose will rotate in anti-clockwise direction around 92 degrees. So fructose is dominating it with a 40 degrees in anti-clockwise, counterclockwise direction. So the resultant solution becomes a levorotatory. So that is why hydrolysis of sucrose to glucose and fructose is called inversion of cane sugar. And final example for a first order reaction is decomposition of benzene diazonium chloride. What is benzene diazonium chloride? Benzene having these functional groups. It is called benzene diazonium chloride. When benzene diazonium chloride undergoes decomposition in presence of water, of course, here water we will take it in large quantities. So here also water, and even hydrolysis of ester also, we will take large quantities of water. So the changes in concentration of water will not alter the rate of the reaction. So that is why these are called as first order reactions, or we can say pseudo unimolecular reactions. Okay, right. So when we decompose benzene diazonium chloride in presence of large quantities of water, it will be converted to phenol and nitrogen and HCl. So the decomposition of benzene diazonium chloride in presence of water is an example for first order reaction. Now we will derive the integrated rate expression for a first order reaction. So we will follow the similar procedures which we applied in zero order reactions. For a first order reaction, so now we are taking a general reaction. A gives rise to P, at T is equal to 0, that means initial concentrations, we are starting the reaction with A amount. Since at the beginning the amount of product is 0, so we can take it as 0. At time T, say for example X amount of product is formed, so the remaining amount of A is A minus X. Now the integrated rate expression for a first order reaction, now the rate law for a first order reaction is R is equal to some constant K. Here it is a first order reaction, so we will take it as K1, and A power 1, since it is a first order reaction, A power 1. Now we can use differential rate expression, the decrease in the concentration of reactants, K1 is equal to A, or we can rearrange this according to the variables. So all concentration terms will be in one side, we will take out this dt that side, so K1 into dt, it becomes multiple. Now we can integrate this. On integration between the limits, we know the limits, right? So concentration limits are A to A minus X, time limits are 0 to T. So therefore minus integral dA by A between the limits A to A minus X is equal to K1 into integral dt between the limits 0 to T. Now we know the integration for 1 by A, 1 by X. So integration for 1 by X is log X. Here it is ln A. In the derivations, we don't take log directly. What we will take is ln. Log is, if you have base 10, it is called log A, logarithm. If you have base E, then it is called ln. Right. Now the integration for 1 by A is ln A, and between the limits A to A minus X, K1 into integration of dt. So integration of dx is X. So dt we get T. So 0 to T. Now when we substitute the variables, ln A minus X upper limit minus then lower limit ln A is equal to K1 into T minus 0, upper limit minus lower limit. Or we can say, if you take the minus also inside the brackets, it becomes ln A minus ln A minus X is equal to K1 into T. Or ln A minus ln B, log A minus log B, log A by B. So similarly, ln A by A minus X is equal to K1 into T. Or we can write K1 is equal to, you bring this T this side, it becomes 1 by T ln A by A minus X. If you want to have log in the expression, what we need to do is, we need to multiply ln with the 2.303, then it becomes logarithm. So K1 is equal to 2.303 by T into logarithm of A by A minus X. So this is the integrated rate expression for a first order reaction. This is the integrated rate expression for a first order reaction. What are the units of rate constant? Now we will see the units of rate constant for a first order reaction. First I'll repeat it once again. So to derive the integrated rate expression for any order reactions, we will consider this general reaction A gives rise to P. Initially there will be no product and we are starting with the A, and after some time, say if X amount of product is formed, then the initial concentration will be A minus X. Now the rate law for first order reaction can be written as R is equal to K1 into A power 1. We used to substitute the differential rate form. So minus d by dt of A is equal to K1 into A. When we rearrange the variables, all concentration terms and all time on the other side, we can integrate it between the limits. Of course, the general limits are concentration limits A to A minus X, time limits 0 to T. So when we integrate it 1 by A, 1 by X integration is log X, but here we don't use log directly in the derivations, we use ln. What is log? If the base is 10, it is called log. If base is E, then it is called ln. Then when we integrate it, we will get ln A between the limits A to A minus X. Of course, dt, the integration is t. Now we will substitute the limits, upper limit minus lower limit. So when we bring minus inside, it becomes ln A minus ln A minus X. Of course, we know log A minus log B is equal to log A by B. Similarly, here ln A by A minus X is equal to K1 into T. Now for the integrated rate expression, we used to represent the equation K1 is equal to, so we will rearrange them. So K1 is equal to 1 by T into ln A by A minus X. Now if we want to use log in the integrated rate expression, what we need to do is we need to multiply the ln with 2.303. So K1 is equal to 2.303 by T into logarithm of A by A minus X. So this is the integrated rate expression for a first order reaction. Now we will see the units of rate constant for a first order reaction. The units of rate constant can be derived from the integrated rate expression. What is the integrated rate expression for a first order reaction? It is 2.30, K1 is equal to 2.303 by T into logarithm of A by A minus X. What is 2.303? It is a constant. What is T? It is time. What is A? A is a concentration. What is A minus X? A minus X is again a concentration. So we will get cancelled. Therefore, what is there? K1 is equal to 1 by time. Therefore, the units of first order rate constant are time inverse. Generally, we represent the time in terms of seconds. So the units of rate constant for a first order reaction are second inverse. Now we will look at the graphical representations of first order reactions. Generally, for first order reactions, if we take concentration on y-axis and time on x-axis, what is the first order reaction? It is A gives rise to P. So with the time, the concentration of A will decrease because it is a reactant, it will be converted to product. So the starting material concentration will decrease with time, and the concentration of product will increase with time. So this is a simple representation of first order reaction. Now we use rate law, R is equal to K1 into A. So here it is Y is equal to mx plus C. Okay, so no C is there. It represents like Y is equal to mx. So when we draw a graph of rate versus concentration of A, rate versus concentration of A, then it is a straight line passing through origin, and from the slope we can calculate the rate constant. Okay, so when we draw a graph of rate versus concentration, we get a straight line which is passing through origin, and when we calculate the slope is nothing but rate constant for the first order reaction. We can also use this integrated rate expression, logarithm of A by A minus X is equal to K1 into T by 2.303. It is just a bit modified. So we can draw a graph of log A by A minus X versus time. Again, it is a straight line because it represents y is equal to mx. It is a straight line passing through origin, and when we calculate the slope becomes k1 by 2.303. So if we know the slope of this graph, then it is easy for us to calculate the rate constant for the first order reaction. So these are the three different ways of graphical representation for a first order reaction. Now we will calculate the half-life time for a first order reaction. What is half-life? Half-life is nothing but 50% of the reaction is completed. When the reaction is completed 50%, then we can have x becomes a by 2 and t becomes t half. So these two things we need to substitute in integrated rate expression for a first order reaction. Now what is the integrated rate expression for a first order reaction? For a first order reaction, K1 is equal to 2.303 by T into logarithm of A by A minus X. Here we need to substitute X is equal to A by 2, T is equal to T half. Therefore, K1 is equal to 2.303 by T half logarithm of A by A minus, in place of X we used to substitute A by 2. Since it is an expression for T half, we will bring T half this side, so it becomes numerator. We will bring K1 this side, so it becomes denominator. K1 logarithm of A by A minus A by 2, it becomes again half, right? Or T half is equal to 2.303 by K1 into logarithm of 2, because A and A will get cancelled. What is the value of log 2? Logarithm of 2 value is 0.3010. So when we multiply 0.3010 with 2.303, what we will get is 0.693 by K1. So T half of a first order reaction is independent of initial concentration. See, we don't have A in this half-life expression. So what we can say, T half of a first order reaction is independent of initial concentration. So T half is equal to 0.693 by K1. You need to remember this multiplication, 2.303. When it is multiplied with the 0.3010, we will get 0.693. I'll repeat this again. For calculating half-life of a first order reaction, we need to substitute a by 2 in place of x and t half in place of t in the integrated rate expression for a first order reaction. K1 is equal to 2.303 by t into logarithm of a by a minus x. When we represent t half in place of t and we place a by 2 in place of x. So when we simplify this and rearrange it, t half is equal to 2.303 by k1 into logarithm of 2. Logarithm of 2 value is 0.3010. When we multiply 2.303 with 0.3010, it becomes 0.693. Therefore, T half of a first order reaction is equal to 0.693 by K1. So that means T half of a first order reaction is independent of the initial concentration. For example, if we are starting a reaction with 100% of A, and if it takes T time for the reaction to be 50% completed, if it takes T time for the 50% to become 50%, and when we want to convert this 50% into 25%, it takes the same time because T half is independent of the initial concentration. So when you start with 100% or whether you start with 50%, it doesn't matter. For a reaction to be half completed for a first order reaction, it takes the same time. Even if you want to convert this 25% to 12.5%, again it takes the same time. And for this conversion also, again it takes the same time. Yeah, from this we can clearly say if the initial concentration is became 25%, that means the reaction is 75% completed. The reaction is 75% completed. So for a first order reaction to become 75%, the time required is 2 into T half. For this 50% to become 50%, it requires 1 T half. To become 25%, it requires another T half. So for a first order reaction, T 75% is equal to 2 into T half. Similarly, we can derive many relations from this which are useful for competitive exams. 87.5% is equal to 3 into T half. That means here up to this. 75% plus 12.5%, it becomes 87.5%. T 93.75% is equal to 4 into T half. T 96.875% is equal to 5 into T half. Similarly, T 99.9% is equal to 10 into T half. These are some of the shortcuts which can be derived from this relationship. Similarly, we can also derive T 99.9%. T 99% is equal to 2 into T 90%. Or if T 99.9% is equal to 3 into T 90%. When we increase the number of 9s after point, it will increase 1. T 99.99% is equal to 4 into T 90%. If you say T 99.999%, it becomes 5 into T 90%. And from these two relations, T 99.9% equal to 10 T half, T 99.9% equal to 3 T half. So what we can say, 10 T half is equal to 3 into T 90%. Or we can say T half of a first order reaction is nothing but 0.3 times T 90% of a first order reaction. All these shortcuts can be used for competitive exams. T half equal to 0.3 times T 90%. Now we will do some problems on first order reactions. First, we will try to remember the logarithmic values which are useful for competitive exams. Even if we know the logarithmic values for log 2, log 3, we can easily remember all these values. Log 2 is 0.3010. Log 3 is 0.4771. Log 4, we can write it as logarithm of 2 square. That means 2 into logarithm of 2. So that means 2 into 0.3010, it is 0.602. Log 5, we need to remember 0.6989. Log 6 can be written as logarithm of 2 into 3. So log AB, it becomes log A plus log B. So when we add both of these two, log 6 is 0.7781. Log 7, we need to remember 0.845. Log 8 we can write it as a 2 power 3. So 3 into logarithm of 2. So log 8 is 0.903. Logarithm of 9, we can write 9 as a 3 square. So 2 into logarithm of 3, it becomes 0.9542. So when we know log 2, log 3, log 5, log 7, we can derive the values for all other things. Right, now we will look at the problems. In a first order reaction, it takes the reactant 40.5 minutes to be 25% completed. Calculate the rate constant of the reaction. First, we will see what is given. Given that a first order reaction is 25% completed in 40.5 minutes. First, let us consider the initial concentration is A. Initial concentration is A. Now, what do you mean by 25% completed? When we say it is 25% completed, X becomes 25% of A. If the reaction is 25% completed, that means 25% of the product is formed. So it is 25% of the initial amount, or X is equal to 0.25 A, or we can say 1 by 4 of A. So X becomes 1 by 4 of A. Time is given 40.5 minutes, and we were asked to calculate rate constant. Of course, for a first order reaction, the rate constant is given by K1 is equal to 2.303 by T into logarithm of A by A minus X. So when we substitute X value, T value, we can easily calculate K1 value. So I'll repeat. The reaction is given that 25% is completed in 40.5 minutes. So what do you mean by 25% completed? That means the product is 25% of initial concentration. Say if we say initial concentration is A, then X becomes 25% of A. That means 1 by 4 of A in 40.5 minutes. Therefore, we will substitute in the integrated rate expression and we will calculate K1 value. So K1 is equal to 2.303 by 40.5 minutes logarithm of A by A minus 1 by 4 of A. K1 is equal to 2.303 by 40.5 minutes into logarithm of 1 minus 1 by 4, it becomes 3 by 4. So AA will get cancelled. So obviously it becomes 4 by 3. We can write 4 by 3 as log 4 minus log 3, log A by B. So log 4 minus log 3, so that we can simplify it. K1 is equal to 2.303 by 40.5 minutes into log 4 minus log 3. So substitute log 4 and log 3 and use a calculator. And the value is 7.1111 into 10 power minus 3. Because minutes is in denominator, the units becomes minute inverse. So this is the answer. We will see one more problem. The rate constant of a first order reaction is 1.54 into 10 power minus 3 seconds. What is its half-life? First, given that rate constant of a first order reaction, rate constant K1 is equal to 1.54 into 10 power minus 3 second inverse. We need to find out half-life. We need to find out half-life. What is the expression for half-life of a first order reaction? For a first order reaction, half-life is given by T half is equal to 0.693 by K1. We know T half, we don't know K1, so we will rearrange it. K1 is equal to 0.693 by T half. So we will substitute the values. K1 is equal to 0.693 by T half. T half is, sorry, we need to calculate half-life, sorry. So we know K1 value, so we will substitute it. K1 1.54 into 10 power minus 3 second inverse. It becomes, we can take this simply 0.7 by 1.5 into 10 power 3 second inverse. If you make it numerator, it becomes second. In a competitive point of view, you need to make it a whole number so that it becomes easy for the calculation. Here the answer is 450 seconds. In this problem, the half-life of a first order gaseous reaction SO2-Cl2 gives rise to SO2 and Cl2 is 8 minutes. How long will it take to reduce the SOCl2 concentration to 1% of its initial volume? Now we will write whatever it was given. Given that half-life of a first order reaction T half is equal to 8 minutes. Now we need to calculate the time required SO2-Cl2 to become 1% of initial concentration. Now let us consider initial concentration is A. Then if it has to become 1%, if it has to become 1%, that means the reaction is completed 99%. The reaction is completed 99%. Therefore, X becomes 99% of A, or we can say 0.99 of A. Yeah, here we know half-life, we know X value. We need to find out T 99%. Now, when you know the half-life, we can use the half-life expression and we can calculate rate constant. So for a first order reaction, T half is equal to 0.693 by K1. When you know T half, we can easily calculate K1. Therefore, K1 equal to 0.693 by T half. What is T half? 8 minutes. So don't do any calculation, leave it there. So K1 value was there. As you know, irrespective of the initial concentrations, the value of K1 is always constant for a reaction at a particular temperature. So the same expression for K1 can be utilized for this problem also. So what we need to do is we need to take the integrated rate expression and substitute all these quantities there. Therefore, for a first order reaction, the integrated rate expression is K1 is equal to 2.303 by T into logarithm of A by A minus X. Here we know K1. K1 can be known from this expression. We don't know T, so we need to calculate. Therefore, we will rearrange it as T 99% is equal to 2.303 by K1. What is K1? 0.693 by 8 minutes. We will use the units there itself so that it will be simple to predict the units in the last. Logarithm of A by A minus X. What is X? X is 0.99 of A. X is 0.99 of A. Right. So it becomes 0.01 A, and this 0.1 when it goes to numerator, I'll repeat them. T 99% is equal to 2.303 into 8 minutes by 0.693 into logarithm of, if you take A as a constant, so A will get cancelled. So 1 by 0.1 minus 0.99, nothing but 0.1. So this is 10 power minus 2. When it becomes numerator, it becomes 10 square. So right. So yeah, we know this 0.693, how it has come. 2.303 multiplied by 0.3010. So you can cancel it 8 minutes by 0.3010, and this logarithm of 10 square, right? Denominator, it is 10 power minus 2. When it becomes numerator, it becomes 10 square. So 8 by 0.3 into 2 logarithm of 10 minutes. What is log 10? Log 10 is 1. So 16 by 0.3, or we can say 160 by 3 minutes. It is 53 minutes.